Hey, welcome everyone to Mystics Pregames. Been a busy week, but happy to get back in touch with the Mystics. Got Cardell Dudley Jr. here with us and Wilson Tarpe Jr. And, hey, man, the Mystics are coming off a rough home loss to the Lynx, in which they lost a double-digit lead in the second half. They ended up falling 78-76, which snapped their three-game win streak. Washington's 8-8 heading into tonight's matchup against the Sun. The Mystics are currently 4th in the East and 9th in the league standings. Connecticut snapped a 7-game losing streak by beating the Sky 92-63. As far as the injury report goes, no injuries to report for the Mystics. That's been great for the past couple games. That's been consistent. As for Connecticut, they will be without Haley Van Lith, Anissa Morrow, and Sanaya Rivers. So, Cardell, with the Mystics trying to get back on the winning side of things, what are the keys to tonight's game?
You can't go off the Connecticut Sun record. They came off a convincing blowout win over the Chicago Sky, who have their own issues, but regardless, they're still a WNBA team with a lot of accomplished WNBA veterans, and they put hands on them. This start things off, they had a balanced attack. They had 5 players in double figures. So that's a sign that they're starting to gel. Maybe their record overall won't show that, but it looked like they're going to be competitive. So you can't go by what the overall record is. You got to go by how they've been playing as of late, and that's what it's been. Grinder's back in the mix, so obviously you got to deal with her. She's a force. She's a big reason why they're 6th in rebounds, 34.1, 2nd in offensive rebounds, averaging 10.2 offensive rebounds a game, and 5th in blocks, 4.4 blocks per game. She's doing what she do, and even at past her prime stage, she's still effective. She's still impactful. And that's why she's one of the greatest to do it. Olivia Nelson-Ododa, you got to, keep an eye on her as well. Had a monster double-double in the win over the Sky, 11 points, 15 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 of 8 from the field. She's a Swiss Army knife type of power forward. If you're not careful and keep a body on her, she could disrupt the game off rebounding and second chance points, or offensive rebounding, kickouts, and then if you give them extra possessions, any team will beat you, man. And that kind of goes to the point that they're 1st in the WNBA in 2-point attempts. That's a direct reflection of them being 2nd in offensive rebounds. Think about that. So they got to keep them off the offensive boards, and if they do get it, they got to be aware and on the string to rotate and close out and get back to shooters or whatnot, or cutters, or it's going to be a long night. Aaliyah Edwards, former Mystic, 11 points, 5 rebounds off the bench. You got to, we all know what she can do. So obviously she's going to be motivated to play against her former team. So you got to deal with her as well. Charlize Legger-Walker had a good game, 13 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and went over the Sky. And Lakin, you know what I'm saying? Like Leila Lakin, she's starting to find a way in the league, 12 points, 2 assists. So you got to go off of how they've been playing. The Mystics, what they have to do and what they failed to do against Minnesota, and the big reason why they lost that game was you got to be able to defend without fouling. That was a big reason why Michaela Onyenwere, who's been playing well this season, she had 5 fouls, and it pretty much took her out of rhythm of her game, and she wasn't that impactful in that loss, which is uncharacteristic. You got to keep them, and I get it. It's a Gardner. I get it. Gardner Olivia Miles is a different animal, all right. But Natasha Howard went to work on her as well. But Olivia Miles, 8 or 12 from the free throw line. Natasha Howard, 7 or 8 from the free throw line. The only other player who got to the free throw line was Courtney Williams. She was 1 for 2. So the 2 players you going in, you got to kind of keep off the line. They got to the line. You got to keep them off the line. Brittany Griner, she shoots 70%. Sanaya Rivers, just under 70%. They're not a good free throw shooting team overall, but they had players like Brock Griner. If you put on the line enough, she's going to make 7 out of 10. And that could be the difference in the game if it's a close game. So I'm just going off of how the Mystics lost that game and how Connecticut's been playing. And you got to throw the records out the window. You got to go off matchups and strategy. And that's what the problem could be for the Mystics if they don't come, especially being on the road, if they don't be physical, rebound, and defend without fouling. I think for about 3.5 quarters, they defended well. Towards that the second half of the fourth quarter, it was just fouls when Olivia and Natasha, when they got super aggressive to try to come back and pull the game out and come back and win the game. The Mystics kind of fell apart on the defensive end, and then they started getting frustrated with the calls and all that. I mean, you got to keep a cool head and keep playing, and that's the key, man. So if they're able to contain Griner, which is a big part of their team, Olivia Nelson Adota, don't give her a chance to disrupt the game, they should be fine. You know what I mean? Because it's hard for Connecticut to generate offense. But let's be real. Mystics lost the game with the Lynx in the trenches in that paint. And that's the only way they could lose this game unless somebody just get hot from the sun. But they're 15th in three-point shooting. So, you got to play the percentages. But they can kill you inside, especially with the rebounding and finishing, with, all that. So you gotta be physical. You got to be tough. It's going to be a trench battle again. And the Mystics with their bigs, with Shakira, Kiki, I expect Onywhere to bounce back and play much better. Citron's been on a tear. I'm not worried about her at all. Georgia's still trying to find herself, but at least she's starting to be a little bit more consistent with scoring and assists. And that she got to cut down the turnovers. That's the other thing. But again, she was going against Olivia Miles and Courtney Williams. That's a tall task for a rookie. If they win the trench battle on the paint, man, they should be fine. But that's why they play the games.
Yeah, I'm right with you. And another thing that why it would be disappointing if they lose that battle inside tonight. Connecticut's without Anissa Morrow, who had a double-double the last time these two teams got the rumbling, and she's a problem inside. That's hard hat, lunch pail, and that's not there. And then one of the things I know you brought up, Leah LeCann. I'm thinking back to that last matchup and why it's so important that they take care of the ball. There was a stretch during the second half the last time these two teams played where they turned the ball over a little bit. And LeCann's foot speed, that's hell in transition to deal with. When they turned it over, she was out. Like it was to the point where she was so far ahead of them by the time they could get to her. It turned out to be and ones, compounding those issues. So yeah, I'm right with you. Take care of the paint. Please take care of the ball. Should be able to come out of this. But like you said, they got to play the game. But those are Cardell's keys to the game. You guys keep those in mind as y'all watch tonight, and we'll check in with y'all afterwards for Mystics Outlook.